I'd like to call a meeting to order. If I could have roll, please, Cindy.
Betteridge.
Here.
Barton. Opperly.
Here.
Jones.
Here.
Shook.
Here.
Warham.
Here.
Spar. Chairman, we have a quorum.
Thank you. Has everybody had a chance to look at last month's minutes? If there are no amendments, I'll hear a motion for approval.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve last month's minutes as written.
I'll second.
Opperly.
Yes.
Betteridge.
Yes.
Jones.
I was unavailable, so I'll abstain.
Shook.
Yes.
And Warham.
I'll have to abstain since I wasn't here either.
Okay, thank you.
Mary, we just asked about the minutes, if we approve last month's minutes.
Okay.
If you,
Do you approve them?
Yes.
Thank you.
okay, before our first case tonight, I'd like our attorney to just read a brief statement.
Thank you. Public hearing is being held tonight pursuant to published notice. Any person wishing to address the zoning board will be sworn in by our court reporter and give their testimony under oath or affirmation. At the conclusion of the public hearing, the Zoning Board of Appeals will make its determination. 4 yes votes are required to obtain the approval of the zoning board. For a variation, the zoning board's task is to determine whether an applicant meets certain legal requirements. The variation procedure is not intended to evaluate whether a proposed variance is a good idea or a bad idea. The Zoning Board of Appeals cannot grant a variance unless it finds that the evidence presented before it proves each of the required criteria contained in the village code and Illinois law. Among other factors, the zoning board considers whether a hardship exists, which is unique to this parcel, which is caused by the zoning code and not by any person having an interest in the property. The board also considers the effect of the proposed variance on the public good and on neighboring properties. Unless the zoning board finds that all of the required criteria is met based on the evidence presented, the zoning board can't grant the variance.
Thank you. Okay, our first case tonight is number 14-02. Drew Carroll's requesting a variance for an accessory building at 27 Waldheim Road, zoned R1. The maximum allowed height for accessory building is 13 feet. Requested variance of 5 foot, allow a height of 18 feet. Maximum allowable area for the structure is 408 square foot. Requested variance of 720 square foot will allow a building of 1,200 square feet. Drew, you just want to stand up and Arlene will swear you in. You can step to the podium.
Good evening. I'm Drew Carroll, my wife Lisa. We'd like to build a building on 27 Waldheim. We've lived there 23 years. We required quite a bit of stuff, and I'd just like to be able to put it all inside. Questions?
What color? What color are you going to make this?
It'd match the house. It'd be gray and
Okay.
black.
Okay. The neighbors directly behind Drew, they said they're fine with it. They just didn't want it white. And I said, well, they'll never see it in the summertime.
If anybody opposed it, they'd be here tonight, right?
Right.
Drew, do you know if the Waldheim homeowners code has anything written in there?
As far
regarding
as
this?
size, they follow the city.
Okay.
I think a case like this one, I'd rather see a garage back there and a place for your camper, you know, inside something than sitting out.
Well, this lot's 1.2 acres.
Yeah.
It's not your typical And most of the time during the, except for the winter months, nobody'd ever even be able to see it, just because of the foliage.
Now, how do you access that? Is there going to be some kind of a driveway, or do you just go across the grass? Or
No,
how-
no,
what do
no,
you-
yeah, I won't be putting a driveway in. So right along the property line here has actually been driven on so many times by big trucks that it's actually parked.
Okay.
But no, I'm not gonna put any concrete or anything. I've got a snowplow sitting back there, a salt spreader, log splitter. I've been there a long
Yeah.
time. And I only got a 2-stall garage.
Does anybody in the audience wish to comment in this case? Would you like to be sworn in? And
Sure.
you can just step up to the podium.
Raise your right hand, please. Do you solemnly swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? I do. Thank you. Go up there and state your name.
Name and address, and then,
Thank you.
Bob Wright, 137.
you can just
Okay, right.
set it in the microphone and the
Okay.
court reporter will get it.
Bob Bright, 137 West Chicago Street. I'm not here necessarily to oppose this, but sitting here and knowing what's happened in the past, you don't ask enough questions. Is he going to have electricity out there? Is he going to have water? Is he going to air condition it? Is he going to put heat in it? I've seen that happen because nobody asked the question. Somebody puts a garage up. It's another place to live. I'm not saying that's what's happened. I live in a house that's less than 1,200 square feet. You must have accumulated a lot of stuff
Well, we have a
to need 2 stories with that
You
footprint.
you just talk to me. You don't have to talk to them. Talk to the board.
Okay. You want me to repeat?
No, I think we heard you.
Okay. It's just, how can you
Well, Bob, I
say
have a-
yes or no if you don't know what it's going to be used, other than he says for storage?
Well, I don't think our zoning, I don't think that the rules that we have and the policies that we have, that the village has adopted would allow for that structure to be used as a house. So therefore, the things that you're referring to as far as the plumbing, the electrical, the heating, has really no relevance to this body here as to whether it would or won't. If he wanted to use that as a house, that'd be a whole nother issue. It
Well, that's all
wouldn't be-
I'm asking
It
you,
wouldn't
is
be
to
allowed.
clarify that when you have someone appear before you.
But he's not asking for a variance for a structure to live in there. That would be an automatic no.
Yeah, I don't think, you have a specific issue that you're, I mean, has something happened that you're
In the
concerned about?
past,
In the past?
yes.
Okay, I figured there had to be
Person
something
comes
going
in and
on
says,
here.
I'm building a big garage and getting the height variance. They put air conditioning in there. They put heating, water. It's another residence.
Are they
Now, I
living
have-
in there?
Pardon?
Is somebody living in there?
Well, they use it.
Well, I have a garage, and I have heat, and I have air. I mean, and I don't live in it, but I have a bathroom. But the city, I filed all the codes. I mean, it's kind of nice for me, because I have a smaller house with 1 bathroom. It works out. I mean, if somebody's living in something like that, yeah, that'd make a difference, but he's not asking to live in this thing. And he can run power to it if he wants to. That's his prerogative. If he wants to run water to it.
No, that's not the issue. I sense that that board right there that I'm staring at doesn't do their job right.
Well, I appreciate your,
At the
You
beginning of this
should be
meeting,
asking questions.
at the beginning of this meeting, the council just read a statement that describes what we can and cannot base our judgments on. And whether a building garage has electricity or not is not one of the things that we're allowed to base our decisions on. So there's no point in us asking that question, because that wouldn't be appropriate for how we have to make a decision based on the law.
Okay, so if I want to build a 2-story big garage in the back of my lot, all I have to come in here and says, I'm going to fill it full of junk.
you can use the word junk if that's what you want to do, but I think what they're saying is, and I think that it's reasonable that after so many years, I think that you would have to agree, and maybe not, that people do accumulate things. I mean, I accumulate things at my house. You know, it's like a recycling. You know, you buy a new sofa, it goes from the living room to the basement, from the basement to, you know, wherever, Goodwill or whatever. People accumulate things over time. I think that's a fair statement. But to say that people are throwing junk, I mean, I can't say what they're throwing in there.
Well,
But
I
again-
apologize. I used the junk too literally. The thing is, we have a bunch of extra junk.
Yeah. He's got a big lot here. I mean, that is extremely, compared to our lots that we live on, it's, you know, fits 6 of mine in there.
But when the village has the height requirements and size requirements, and this is more than twice the footprint, shouldn't you ask more? What are you going to do with it?
Well, I don't think we're done asking questions yet to him. I mean, I just asked if anybody in the audience would just comment to this.
Well,
We're not
I assumed
done.
he was through.
No, he's not
Nobody
done.
was asking him questions.
No, he's not done yet.
Okay,
No, we haven't finished that up.
I apologize to the Carrolls.
Yeah.
It's just,
Okay, I
if
appreciate
want to
your
build a
view.
garage in the future, I know how to do it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You can just apply for a variance and come in and face the board just like he's doing and see what happens.
Right, if you don't ask the right questions, I'll put it, then I'll put something in later.
Yeah.
In terms of your presentation, Bob, one of the issues that came up was you mentioned you had some questions you thought should be asked. A part of the public's opportunity to comment is both comment and ask questions of the petitioner. So if you have specific questions that you'd like to ask them that you feel are relevant to this board's decision, you do have the opportunity as a part of comment to do that, so long as we all maintain proper decorum and back and forth with each other. So I wanted to clarify that procedurally, in addition to making comments you think are relevant to this board, you can ask them questions if there's things you want to ask them.
It depends on whether the board's going to ask those questions I just brought up.
And I don't want to speak for the chair, but until the board concludes the public hearing portion, you have the opportunity to ask if you wish, and if you want to ask those questions, this is your chance to do so. The board will at some point conclude the public hearing portion of the meeting, and then your opportunity to ask those questions ends. So I would tell you that this is your chance. If you wish to utilize that, you can, but that's your discretion.
Can I go back over here?
If you would like to talk more.
Yeah, if you would like to.
Thanks for hearing me out. Building this structure is going to be expensive. Have you thought about storage facility?
Yeah, and all I'm gonna do is add an improvement to my property. That's all I'm gonna pay somebody rent to hold my stuff. That's what you're asking me. No, absolutely not.
Well, this is me speaking personally. That's an awful lot of money to pay to store items. So what utilities are you intending to provide to that structure?
Oh,
Will any of it be,
residential part of a building? No, nothing. I have 3 vehicles, 2 trucks. See that little building right there that does qualify?
can you come up here and point it out for me, please?
Sure.
Then show me where you're going to build this structure.
See that little building behind my house there?
But that line cuts through it?
Yeah, where the easement goes right through it?
Okay, that's an easement line? Okay.
Yeah, it's a sewer. It's going right underneath my shed. That's on a skid. So I can move that anywhere I want. But it's full all the way to the ceiling right now.
Okay.
I can't even walk in there. That's not counting, there's an RV back here, a snowplow, a salt spreader, another truck. I've got, like Ward said, I just have accumulated stuff.
Well,
What I put in there is really my business.
well,
Are you one of my
I'm not
neighbors?
taking
I know, I'd like to
exception.
ask you, are you one
Sure,
of my
Drew.
neighbors?
no, I'm not.
Okay, that's all I want to know.
I lived in downtown, the old part of town.
Okay.
Okay.
So this is just, this,
No,
it
if you-
wouldn't matter who was here.
Yeah, I think that's the way it is.
All right.
No,
I got it.
if, when you made your presentation, it says, okay, I need this big structure. I got all these vehicles. The bottom part's gonna be full of vehicles. Storage is upstairs. I'm sitting back here, you build a 1,200 square foot, 18-foot tall, just for storage.
The only reason he's got it that tall, Bob, is he has to get a garage door in there to get that motorhome, and to get the height for that door, it's not gonna have a second story. It's just it needs a door in the end to get that RV inside. That's the only reason it's at 18 foot. The 13 foot's a 24-foot garage with a 412 roof on it, and if you go a little wider than that, then you have to have at least a 312 on a roof. I mean, that would be minimum.
No, I appreciate the additional information, but this has got to go to the village board, correct?
No, it ends here.
Okay. Wouldn't it be nice to have that as part of the minutes? The justification? Because you personally know it, but it's not going to be in the record.
Yeah.
How many of the rest of the, you said you
Writing in the variance.
Yeah, we've actually have a plan here he has submitted that shows what he wants, and if I don't, if I see he's got 18 foot, I don't necessarily have to ask him. It's already in the records, I mean, what he's asking for.
Okay, I apologize.
Yeah, some of this,
Thank you, sir.
all right.
And to thank
Thank
you,
you.
Carol.
Okay, Drew, you're on the hot seat now. You said gray, are you gonna go with wood siding, or, I mean, what are you gonna,
It'll be steel siding.
steel siding, okay,
Just like on my house.
okay,
Not vertical, horizontal.
okay.
Steel roof, though. I don't have a steel roof on
And
my
I'll clarify that height, is just for your door on the end.
Right, I have to have 15-foot clearance for the door.
Yeah. And I assume you're gonna run water and
All of it.
electric, yeah, very good.
It's sitting right over the sewer, or it'll be right by the sewer, not over it.
Yeah.
But it's right next to the sewer, I might as well access that while it's there.
And there's an easement through there for that?
Right.
It's through the sewer?
I have to be 30 feet from
Right.
the property line
Right.
on the backside.
Okay. Does anybody else on the board have?
No, I think it's nice that you're conglomerating all those items together and, not that you have a problem looking at them, but, your neighbors might, and I think that'll work out pretty well.
Jack Caney, I'm sure he'll be glad.
Yeah, I could imagine.
No questions?
No, if there's no more questions? Do I hear a motion, or should I offer?
If you wouldn't mind.
Mr. Bright, do you have any further comments to ask? Or do you feel it's been substantially?
It would be a question to the board, not to Mr.
Okay, you can ask us a question.
Do I need to stand over there?
Yes, it would be. We have to have a microphone to record it.
Oh, I appreciate that. No, this has, the issue is the same, but it's not addressing what they want. This is me getting information for the future for me. Say I come before the board, and you approve an oversized garage. 3 years, 6 years, whatever, I decide I want to have an apartment in there. What happens then?
You'd have to rezone it, because this is zoned R1 single family, so they can have their family, not another family living in that building. It's not set up to be,
But if it's,
A duplex
if it's the
use.
same family, is there a distinction, Roger?
pardon?
Is there a distinction if it's the same family?
Our ordinance says family, but according to the conversations I've had with our attorney, the definition of family is not quite as definable as what it once was. But he can't turn that into 2 living units on that property, is what it amounts to.
So it couldn't become a mother-in-law or whatever you want to call it.
Not in a separate, they could add a room onto that house and have a mother-in-law quarters or whatever you'd want to call that, but they can't add another building onto the property and make it a living quarters.
Even though the building's already,
Right.
okay. I got the information I needed.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay. At this point, I'm going to close the meeting to public comments, and I'm going to have Pat wants to make a comment.
The one remark I had before you guys entertain action on this, and it's derivative of staff comment as well, is part of the standards is something unique about this property that's different from other properties. Because this may be an issue that will come back before the board, you may want to be clear and make sure it's clear for your minutes as to the uniqueness of this property. Not speaking for the board, but one of the uniquenesses tendered was that this is a very large lot. It's not a common size lot for other R1 properties in the village, for example, where Mr. Bright lives in the old part of town. I doubt there are 1 acre lots. So whether it's that or other reasons, you may want to have some discussion or get some statements on the record as to the uniqueness of this, because I would imagine it may be a recurring request and precedents and all that. So.
And it wouldn't be the first time that we've approved something that's larger for the lots. That's been done. 2130 Morton Avenue, it's a 5 acre lot, flag shaped there, had some variants that had come forward years ago. And in order to maintain 5 acres, you're not going to get out and push it. And along with that, usually have longer drives. You might go out and have larger equipment to maintain that. So I think what you need to consider as far as the board, I think it's good that people have someone that they can go to and say, you know, here's our circumstances. To us, they're unique. We'll listen to what their argument is and then try to do a good service, you know. And it's not that we're trying to do something wrong here. We're just trying to make a good decision based on the evidence that's presented to us. So I think if you came to us with a variance that, you know, you needed something done, we would treat you no differently than we would them or the next person. I think it's fairness. It's not, we're going to do it for this one person, but we're not going to do it for them. We look at everything. There is no black and white with this board as far as I'm concerned. There's gray. And I think we're here to listen what the arguments are to try to accommodate it if it's something that makes sense.
And I think on this lot, unique-wise, it's all wooded. It's got a unique shape, and it's got a ravine. You know, just off your property line is a creek running around off the backside through the whole back property.
North and west.
Right. You've pretty much got it. You're surrounded by ravines.
I just think you have to understand, you have to look at each case individually. And I would think that that's how the citizens would want it. I wouldn't want it to be a cookie cutter, just you come in, let me look, this matches this, it's yes, it's no, and just a rubber stamp. I don't think that's what you would want, nor would the citizens want. But I think you would want a board that's fair, that is going to look at the evidence and then make a decision based on what's presented.
May I ask another question to the board?
Only if the chair acknowledges.
Yes, I'll go ahead if you.
Okay. No, the case-to-case basis is appropriate. But when I go back and look at meetings, because it's filmed, and I see the petitioner, whatever the title is, come in and make a minute presentation, and there's no discussion, not knowing you've got a blueprint, perception is, okay,
Yeah, well, we should probably,
I'm just thinking,
yeah.
Yeah.
And we do have all the information.
did something.
And that's why I asked, most of the time we ask the board, we're all looking at this information. And if nobody does have any questions to it, because they see it right here in print, then we don't.
Right, all the information, you can see the paperwork on this, and this is just one case. This is not just, we have one paper and the chairman reads it and then we say yes or no. We have a lot of evidence to look at. It's just not one piece of paper with 3 or 4 statements. We've got prints on what he's wanting to do, elevations, side elevations, front elevations, and
Plus, we go out and look at it.
And yeah, it's
Right.
all sent to us up ahead, so we have time to go look.
yeah.
So I guess if it looks that way on film, it's not that way, but,
No,
you know.
that's one reason I came in tonight,
okay.
because I'm thinking,
Yeah, and there have been some down in your neighborhood that have been built wrong that we've had to deal with, but, Okay, so with that, we've determined that as far as lots,
There were
the physical lot size, as far as uniqueness,
Mike, if it would put it into perspective for anybody, a typical subdivision might get about 3 houses, 3 lots per acre. Well, what did you say, Drew, 1.2 or?
Right.
So that would be like maybe almost 4 houses.
Yeah.
Could be configured in there.
Yeah.
So,
okay. And it is almost a wooded subdivision.
Yeah.
It's a different, it's not a bean field. Okay, with that, do I hear a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I would move that we grant case number 14-02 under 1010 2C as stated.
Second.
Spar,
Yes.
Shook,
Yes.
Warham,
Yes.
Jones.
Yes.
Betteridge.
Yes.
And Opperly.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, you have your variance. You can see Roger for permit, and I appreciate all the comments for tonight. Okay. Roger,
nothing tonight.
since Steve's not here, Cindy, you have any comments?
Nothing tonight.
Okay. With that, do I hear a motion for a vote for adjournment?
Make a
Anybody?
motion, we adjourn.
I'll second that.
Roll, please.
Thank you.
And who seconded? Did you get it?
Spar,
Okay.
Opperly,
Yes.
Betteridge,
Yes.
Jones.
Yes.
Shook,
Yes.
Spar,
Yes.
Warham.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.